At the start of the 2006 lacrosse season, the Duke Blue Devils came out to a strong, confident start with a 6-2 record, with losses from number 4 ranked Maryland and number 3 ranked Cornell. All the signs pointed towards a successful season with a good chance of possibly winning a title as well. Then, controversy struck.
Now to another story we've been watching here of late, the rape case at Duke University. We have learned the identities and seen the faces now behind the indictments.
It's going to be on a jury now. That's right, indictments handed down, arrests made on at least 2 young men. We're expecting yet a third indictment in the Duke lacrosse rape scandal.
My name is Dave Evans. I'm a captain of the Duke University men's lacrosse team.
Dave Evans was the first of the accused to speak out and declare his innocence.
These allegations are lies, fabricated, and they will be proven wrong.
Crystal Magnum, who at the time was a stripper, accused Dave Evans along with his 2 teammates of gang raping her at a party she was hired to attend. Also, in 1996, Crystal filed a police report alleging that 3 years earlier, when she was 14, she had been kidnapped by 3 assailants, driven to Creedmoor, North Carolina, and raped. One of those she accused was her boyfriend, who was 21 at the time. She subsequently backed away from the charges, a move relatives claimed was motivated by fear of her life. Magnum's father said he did not believe she was raped or injured.
Tell me about these 2 young men.
They come from some nice homes in the shadow of New York City. Nance, let's first start with Colin's home. It's in guarded.
What telling me?
Well, I'm telling you, they do have some nice homes, Nancy, and we also have one from Reed Seligman. His comes in at about $1,300,000. So let's take a look at the house of the parents of the alleged victim.
Right off the bat, the media tried to spin this in any way they could. Their first method was making this an economic conflict by accusing the Duke athletes of having an entitlement over Crystal because of the difference in their economic status.
Then, once the trial began, these tactics again came into play. Despite having minimal hard evidence, Mike Nifong, the DA representing Crystal Magnum, had lots of contact with the press as he was making exaggerated and false claims. At one point in the trial, Nifong spoke with a reporter on how during the rape, one of the Duke lacrosse players strangled Magnum from behind. No physical evidence from Magnum's hospital report confirmed Nifong's claim. It was also confirmed in court that Nifong had withheld evidence from the defense concerning DNA tests. The defense also argued that Magnum had given at least a dozen different accounts of the incident, changing the number of attackers from 20 to 3 and modifying the methods by which he was assaulted. Basically, in a matter of days, this trial fell apart for Nifong, but a lot more was at stake for Nifong than just this trial.
It was clear that this case was not driven by evidence, but by the idea of white privilege and the personal motives of Nifong, which could have been his upcoming re-election. These false claims and lack of evidence made it clear that there was an issue in our justice system, and this brought light to them.
The defense's next move was to exploit the system and try to have Nifong removed from the trial. The lawyers representing the Duke lacrosse players approached the North Carolina Bar Disciplinary Committee about looking into if Nifong committed any kind of ethical misconduct in this trial.
After thorough investigation, the North Carolina Bar Disciplinary Committee decided to disbar Nifong for ethical misconduct, which included lying to investigators and withholding critical DNA evidence from defense attorneys.
The hearing committee has deliberated, and we are in unanimous agreement that there is no discipline short of disbarment that would be appropriate in this case, given the magnitude of the offenses that we have found and the effect upon the profession and the public. I do want to make some remarks as to why we reached that conclusion. This matter has been a fiasco. There's no doubt about it. It has been a fiasco for a number of people, starting with the defendants and moving out from there to the justice system in general. We've heard evidence over the last several days of how that came about. And we are lawyers and a school administrator. We're not psychologists. But you have to ask yourself, why? Why did we get to the place that we got? It seems that at the root of it is self-deception arising out of self-interest. Mark Twain said that when a person cannot deceive himself, the chances are against his being able to deceive other people.
After Nifong was removed from the case, a new DA took over. After reviewing the evidence and informing himself on the case, he dropped all the charges on all 3 of the defendants.
Hi, everyone. A rush to accuse. That's how North Carolina's Attorney General described the Duke rape case when he announced all charges against the 3 Duke lacrosse players were being dropped. Questions are now focusing on the woman accuser and the prosecutor, Mike Nifong. But damage has been done to the young men involved, to the reputation of this university, and to the criminal justice system. It will take time to assess fully what happened.
I'd like to start out by thanking the Attorney General and the special prosecutors for their diligent and professional job in reviewing the case file. It's been 395 days since this nightmare began, and finally today it's come to a closure. From the very beginning, many of the men who are sitting in this room, including myself, Reed and Colin, have said that we were innocent. And we are just as innocent today as we were back then. Nothing has changed, facts don't change, and we have never wavered in our story. I'd also like to thank all the attorneys who are at the table before I get into anything. They've worked tirelessly, they've become family, and we owe them our lives. And that's the most I can say, and I'd like to
Although the case is over and all 3 of the Duke athletes are innocent, their lives will never be the same. They lost a part of their life that can never be replaced. They were uprooted from their lives at Duke and portrayed as monsters by the media. Sports is supposed to bring people together, and you are supposed to stand tall with your community. But in this case, Duke abandoned their 3 students, stripping them off their scholarships, and the media tore them to shreds. This case showed us, however, that the justice system has flaws. In this case, it was resolved, but in other cases, innocent people are wrongly imprisoned.